All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode here on Shark Realm. As in today's episode, we are going to be discussing the concept of Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers. And there's a lot to say about this because this will definitely hit hard in the future of Mortal Kombat because so many things has gone wrong in the past decade, I suppose, for Mortal Kombat, as it seems like where Mortal Kombat used to be no longer exist because in 1992 all the way up to Mortal Kombat Armageddon we had one concise strategic storyline, and they built off of every game, which created the best scenario for Mortal Kombat. Dark lore, deep storytelling, character depth, mysteriousness, creepy and cryptic music, and all that secrets, and that was what Mortal Kombat was. Now, as we got to Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11, they added the whole Revenants. They added all these different scenarios, the timeline change, Raiden becoming more annoying than he already was. And then as soon as we got to Mortal Kombat 1, obviously Liu Kang, Fire God Liu Kang, alternated the timeline, and then that kind of just created a lot more annoying, unnecessary situations, and then it became this whole multiverse of Mortal Kombat, which really ruined and screwed Mortal Kombat. And that's just my personal opinion. So, how does Netflix acquiring WB become a good thing or a bad thing? Well, let's take a look at, in terms of media, where Mortal Kombat was. So, we know that Mortal Kombat had the Defenders of the Earth, or sorry, Defenders of the Realm animated series, and then they also had the Journey Begins animated movie, and then we haven't seen anything after that until we had the Mortal Kombat animated films, such as Mortal Kombat Legends, like Scorpion's Revenge, Battle of the Realms, Snowblind, and the Johnny Cage film. And then they unfortunately said that there's no plans to continue those movies, so we can kind of eliminate those off the list. When it comes to TV series, however, we had Mortal Kombat Conquest, which I thought was a freaking really good show. It just, sucks that it didn't hit the target audience that it should have. And then we had Mortal Kombat Legacy, which was the um, two seasons, I believe, and then it also had Kerry Tagawa, who recently just passed away, who reprised his role as Shang Tsung, and then we also had that YouTube mini movie, Mortal Kombat Rebirth. But then we haven't seen anything after that. But in the forms of Mortal Kombat films, we had Mortal Kombat 95 and then Annihilation, and we haven't seen anything since then. There was a rumored Mortal Kombat 3, but that didn't come to fruition with, teases of a Quan Chi appearing at the end of that film, or like a little spoiler kind of thing. But we haven't seen anything in over like 2 decades of Mortal Kombat. So it wasn't until when Midway Studios went bankrupt, or they shut down, and then the team of Mortal Kombat went to WB and created NetherRealm Studios, and that's where we got Mortal Kombat versus DC. We got Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11, and Mortal Kombat 1, and then we got uh, three new live action films, which is the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. Then we have the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2 movie coming out in May of 2026, and then we have Mortal Kombat 3 already confirmed. So, to be quite honest, when it comes to the Mortal Kombat video game franchise with Netflix acquiring this, I honestly don't know what they're going to do. Now, the team may all still be the same, everything could still run and function as it normally did, but let's be very clear that WB really had no idea what they were doing. WB is one of those companies where they have so much under their belt. They have so much resources. They have so much content in their library that they don't utilize, or don't even know how to utilize anything. And it's such a shame because they are one of the biggest companies in the world, and they don't know how to utilize a proper brand or proper name, or just whether it's superheroes or even stuff like Mortal Kombat, it's like they just suck at doing what they should be doing. They have all this potential to create Mortal Kombat action figures, Mortal Kombat comics, Mortal Kombat, I guess other spin-off games, Mortal Kombat apparel, Mortal Kombat, I don't know, like all these things off the top of my head that I would love to have as a collector, they did not maximize to that potential, which is extremely unfortunate. Now, will Netflix do anything remotely close? I don't know. I can't guarantee anything because, again, in the form of video games, Mortal Kombat 1 was probably the worst Mortal Kombat game that I've ever played. The storyline just sucked. Because if you played Mortal Kombat 92 all the way up to Armageddon, you would have known that there was one concise strategic story. It was spooky, it was dark, it was mysterious, it was cryptic, the music was spine chilling. There was this type of mysteriousness to the characters that you just wanted to learn more, but they didn't give it to you because it left you to build your own imagination on those characters. And then as Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11 and Mortal Kombat 1 came to exist, a lot of the characters started to become unmasked. They explored their backstories, and everyone basically was a fleshed out character where there was nothing left to the imagination. So Mortal Kombat 1 completely ruined it with because we know that from 92 up to Armageddon, the story built all the way up with Shang Tsung to Shao Kahn, the tournament, and then we had the Deadly Alliance, and then we also had Shinnok, then we had the Dragon King, and then we had Blaze as the final, end boss of the whole entire series. And then with Mortal Kombat 9, 10, 11, Raiden went back in time to to alternate the outcomes of Mortal Kombat, which created a parallel universe. And then as all that, you know, shit hit the fan, turning characters into revenants, and then Mortal Kombat 1 creating a multiverse as Fire God Liu Kang re-altered the timeline and completely shitted on the whole what Mortal Kombat used to be. I don't know where they would go from here or what Mortal Kombat will be known for moving forward because honestly, they completely ruined Mortal Kombat. It's completely finished. It's over. Like, I don't know how they're going to recover from this. I'll give benefit of the doubt for the live action films, but as for the video games, they have a lot to fix. So how will Netflix really solve this? I honestly don't know. They could still utilize the same team. Of course, Ed Boon will still be there. John Tobias is not part of it, roughly, but and on top of that, they created the Mortal Kombat Legacy, with all the latest games, all the old games combined into one uh, platform, et cetera, et cetera. So, that had its own fair share of trials and tribulations. So, with mixed reviews. And then the Mortal Kombat art book or like the lore book that also came out using AI art, which also ruined a lot for Mortal Kombat fans. Um, so how will Netflix actually, you know, come from that destructful nature? I don't know. So let's hope for the best. But the upside to all this is that with Netflix, quote unquote, acquiring WB, there's actually a good concept to this. And that's because Netflix surprisingly does a really good job at creating television series. Now, we may not get animated series per se because animated series is a little bit of a hard hitting concept with, it's probably its own different area. But when it comes to live action shows, they've done pretty well. And one of the biggest ones we can think of, is Stranger Things. And of course, there's so many other ones like, first two seasons of like the first season or two of Riverdale, and then all these other shows that at least that I've watched. They've done like a really, really, really great job at putting in the money, giving fans like a little different of a fan service, and as well as giving us great storytelling and great characters and great development and just great, you know, attention to detail and wanting to have the audience engage with the stories that they're creating. So what Netflix I hope can acquire and do in the future for this is create a Mortal Kombat live action television series, because we haven't seen anything since Mortal Kombat Conquest or Mortal Kombat Legacy, or was it Legends? I don't remember the name at this point. Where Kerry Tagawa, rest in peace, who recently passed away, reprised his role as Shang Tsung. He came in that series, and they focused on the tournament. Some characters were like, a little bit different here and there, but at the end of the day, they tried something at that back in the early 2000s, 2010s, I believe. So Mortal Kombat Conquest was surprisingly a very, very, very good show. At least to me. I mean, in the 90s, it had the cheesy element, but it had that very awesome Mortal Kombat lore to it, which dived deep into certain characters, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. So whether or not the movies being its own separate entity, the TV shows I feel like can be very, very, very beneficial, because we've seen the success of Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, and Battle of the Realms, or even Snowblind, etc., that there is a potential of creating these certain characters and having their own spin-off shows, having their own backgrounds, and just creating a separate live action TV series to really get us engaged and understand Mortal Kombat a lot more. They could really focus, have a whole TV series like season 1, season 2, all on Lin Kuei. They can have a whole series on the Shirai Ryu. They can have special forces, the Black or Red Dragon. Sure, the graphics may not be as great, or costumes may not be as what we want it to be, but it could be potentially great in their own way. Or even imagine having a whole series involving Liu Kang in the Shaolin Temple before he got invited to the Mortal Kombat tournament. Imagine you look at, because in Mortal Kombat Conquest, they actually dived into the beginnings of Shang Tsung, which I don't want to spoil, but that was a really good story. So maybe we can talk about, they can do an episode, or, something on how Shang Tsung manipulated the judges, and then also became a judge himself, and then corrupted the tournament, etc., etc. And then, of course, you can have all these great martial arts, like bring back that whole martial arts of Mortal Kombat. And I think that's the only clutch that Netflix has, is to bring back these Mortal Kombat TV series and give us what Mortal Kombat used to be, in the sense of, again, looking back at Mortal Kombat Conquest, and bring back the concept of 1995 and Annihilation, in terms of just a bunch of ninjas and the characters fighting each other, and diving deep into other Mortal Kombat characters that we never saw on screen. For example, like Kenshi, we have not seen him on screen yet. So, or probably Nightwolf. I mean, like Striker, like any of these characters would be very beneficial to have like on screen, even for characters like Ninja Rain, who would be awesome, Chameleon probably, and just like a whole, like, Mortal Kombat roster is huge, so I'm just naming off the top of my head. But just imagine if we actually had seasons of Mortal Kombat and talk about how Quan Chi corrupted the Lin Kuei, or how Quan Chi manipulated Scorpion, and dive into him and Shinnok, and just give us these different stories. And I think that would make Mortal Kombat thrive in its own merit, and bring back the classic Mortal Kombat costumes and ninjas, and dive deep into those. I think that's the only thing Netflix has and that can work on. Otherwise, we're all doomed at this point. So I think, other than that, I think that's the only thing that's going for Mortal Kombat right now. And aside from those 3 live action films, the animated series we know ended, because I'll do a video about that someday in the future. But we haven't seen any cartoon animated series. We haven't seen any other forms of media for Mortal Kombat. So video games, again, Mortal Kombat 1 took a big L, and how they're going to recover, I don't know. But when it comes to TV series, I think Netflix can do a really good job, and that's what I'm going to be hoping for. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think about this, and is this a good idea? I don't know, but hopefully something good can happen. Thank you guys all for subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode.